Good morning, Ultimate Business Support. It's awesome to be here with you guys on another Monday morning coffee chat. So I am live streaming and I am on GoToWebinar. So there's quite a few of you on GoToWebinar and then lots of you on live stream still joining on. So please do post your questions, comments, and if anything is frozen or not working at your end, as I'm getting a couple of comments here, please just check your internet. Usually I will get a warning if I am having a weak connection. So it's usually not my end, it's your end. By the way, this is being recorded. So if you do miss or you drop out on anything, you will be able to catch the replay of the live stream as well, or the replay of the PowerPoint presentation. So today's topic is how sales savvy are you? And please comment. I'm going to try to monitor all of the comments on live stream and on GoToWebinar. Ask questions, because yesterday I sat down and I worked out a little bit of a framework of what are all of the things that I consistently do, but also that I have noticed other people do that do well in sales. So first of all, why the hell am I sort of sitting here and talking about this? So much more and more in the last month or two, I have noticed people asking me questions about, how, what is my sales strategy? How do I convert sales and all that sort of stuff? And having converted $3 million of sales in the last 3 years purely alone, I thought that would make me and qualify me as reverse engineering some of my ideas around what it takes to be a great salesperson, and that ultimately selling is not a dirty word, that it ultimately allows you to make the difference to people's lives so that they can change the quality of their life and have the result or the solution to the problem that you're offering to solve for them. Lots of good mornings coming through. Good morning to everyone. And as I said, I'll be sharing what's on the screen here, but mostly the people on GoToWebinar will be seeing the PowerPoint. So I want to take you through 10 key traits, if you like, that I have noticed. And to every one of these traits, I want you to answer for yourself at your end if you're a yes or you're a no. And when you get to the end of the 10, just have a little bit of a, pardon me, I'm just going to take a drink of water. Have a little bit of a look at where perhaps your gaps are, or you may not have as many gaps and therefore you might already be getting some amazing results. So we only have literally like 27 minutes to go, so let's get stuck into it as to what all of these 10 aspects of a sales savvy person are. So number one is, I consistently work on building my network by attending events and seminars. Okay, so you need to say yes or no. So a lot of you who follow me would know that my rule of thumb is that I attend 2 networking events or seminars per week. Now, sometimes I end up hosting my 2. So this week, for example, I'm doing the expo, I'm doing my Gold Coast workshop, and I'm doing my Brisbane workshop. Eventually, if you do run your own events, you are going to count those as your 2 for the week. So nowadays, in this year, I would have to say, purely as a participant, I've only been networking probably 15 or 17 different times. Why do I know this? Because at the back of my diary and planner, I actually am jotting down all of the events that I am going to. So, for example, here, I'm just showing people on Facebook Live, I've got the networking events for 2016. However, if you were to look at the other page, which is the events that I've spoken at, so that's 2 full pages, plus it goes across to this page, I'm almost at the 100. Right? I have actually worked out that my ultimate 48-hour author retreat in November is going to be if I'm going on this track and I don't get any other speaking gigs between now and November 18th, that will be the 100 event that I will have spoken, hosted, or or been a part of as someone who's doing the speaking. So that's my number one thing. Why do I put this as number one? And the way I'm kind of going through these is where you start and how you build up from from there. So Anthony's saying, stop pitching, start giving. Woohoo. Okay, so consistently work on building your network by attending. So do you do that? Because the old and famous saying, your network equals your net worth, is not there for no reason. It has a lot of meaning. It has a lot of, it makes a lot of sense. And if you just sometimes if you just focus on building your network and making lots of close relationships, you will see that you will get a lot more prospects coming into your funnel, and you will be being referred to other people. So number two is I always have a call to action online and offline. Now, some of you might go, oh, well, you can't be always pitchy and all that sort of stuff. You don't have to be always pitchy, and this is where it's appropriate. But where I see a lot of lack of results is because people go out, meet other people, and they have no call to action online or offline. They keep adding value and being liked, but they just fail at saying, hey, do this next. And a call to action doesn't need to be super scary. It can be just like very light. Hey, nice to meet you. Join my Ultimate Business Support group on Facebook. Hey, we have a very vibrant 12,500 member community. We do these coffee chats on Monday mornings. Join us and just hang out with us. That's a light call to action, but that's putting someone into your circle of influence, if you like, so they would receive some content and some valuable information, or perhaps network themselves and find a good match for collaborative partners and things like that. The call to action does not need to be, come to this event and it's going to be this many dollars and this is your bonus and da 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 da. But a call to action has to be something that you keep a person in your sphere, so that they keep getting value from you, that one day perhaps they will eventuate into clients. This is a big fail on a lot of people that don't have calls to action. I can see a lot of comments. I'm trying to find it. It's essential. Petra saying, it's essential to network at the right place with a clear intention to make business connection. I've become Vice President of the Chamber of Commerce to position myself in the right place with more influencers. Wonderful, yeah. And the thing is, when you go out networking, if we flick back to that one, look to connect with influential people, which, as we know, my sister Francesca always says, look to connect with the organizer, look to connect with the speaker, and those people who can also introduce you, who also have big networks. Yeah, love the call to action. Otherwise, it's socializing. Yeah, awesome. So if not clients, referral partners. Yeah, totally. Actually, more so nowadays. I used to get this wrong in the beginning as well. I used to think networking was about meeting that potential next client, but I know now that it's actually about meeting other collaborative partners and being in their network, and perhaps and also people of influence. So that's my number two, and I know I can delve into these for a whole half an hour per point, but we have to keep going. Okay, number three is I work on increasing my database by at least 20 new leads every week. Okay, so that funnel, that at the top you'll have the leads, then further down, a certain percentage of them will end up as prospects, and even further down, right at the bottom, some of them will convert into clients. That's also very well known. So how do you do this? Well, do you have a lead magnet? Are you continuing and actively building your database? And have you got a database? Because I actually have met people who have been in business for a couple of years and they still don't have a customer relationship management system. Another big no-no. So, or perhaps people who just don't actually pull it together neatly, or have a continuous way of generating those leads. It doesn't have to be through paid advertising. The other day in my mastermind group here at home, we're talking about developing either an audio, a video, a quiz. Ebook is your standard type of lead magnet, but you can do a few other things where people can opt in on to receive your lead magnet. How many lead magnets do I have? Adair is asking. I probably have about 5 or 6, but my main one is my Ultimate 48-Hour Author book. So that's because I've tested, measured, and understood that that's the core thing, actually what I want people to eventuate and where I want them to go in terms of their mindset of working with me. So I developed that has turned out to be the best lead magnet. I use it as a lead magnet during my podcast interviews by giving it away as a gift. The whole book, the whole 160 pages. I've run Facebook ads to it. I've put it up on social media, like if people want to get it. So would you have a different one for each avatar? Yeah, well, depending on, of course, if you have a different avatar with different pain points, you would definitely have a different lead magnet. But I would also say I wouldn't dilute your attention to have too many avatars all in the one go. I only really have one avatar, and I completely understand who they are and what their pain points are, and I cater products and programs for that exact avatar. So if the easiest things you guys can do to start your sales cycle is to build your database and to have a lead magnet to get those leads coming in. So then you can go into a process of where you're going, hey Charlotte, great to see you as well. So many people on the call and so many people on GoToWebinar. I have very much noticed that this is a hot topic, and we all want to know how to be sales savvy. Even to this point, actually, I picked up a book the other day. I can't look now, but I'll post it after this because it's on my phone and I'm on live stream right now. But I only got the sample of it, and I actually had a big aha moment as to how to even get better at sales, depending on your biggest strength in terms of your personality. Because we all have various personalities and styles of how we would do our selling. Okay, point number 4 is I regularly have a minimum of 3 prospect conversations weekly. Now, what does that mean? Well, some weeks you might have 10. Like, for example, this week when I end up going to the Gold Coast and Brisbane and doing my 2 half-day events, most likely I might even have 20. Because that's my event. That has a call to action for people to qualify into my retreats. And that will eventuate into those 20-minute one-on-one conversations that I'm having with those people. Now, this week, I'm going to have like way more than 3. Some weeks I might have 0. But overall, do you at a very minimum have those 3 prospect conversations weekly? Are you having beyond your lead magnet, have you got a structure of how you're going to nurture the relationship, how you're going to continue to add value so that person asks to have a conversation with you, which turns into potentially them actually being a client? Because it's one thing to build your database, but if you don't know how to get them to the point where they're going to contact you and actually say, yes, I want to speak to you, or, what's the next step, then, you're not going to end up having any prospect conversations. So I know a lot of people who are great at lead gen, but then those leads are just sitting there and they don't get nurtured or communicated, and that network that they have built doesn't actually get warmed up to the point that they're ready to work with you. One thing I want you to remember is a sale doesn't always occur immediately. A sale sometimes needs there's a proven fact that I've shared in the past with you that I learned from Con. He said, or he learned from someone else as well, that it takes 11 hours of content before someone is ready to work with you. So what does that mean? That means that they need to have consumed 11 hours of either reading your ebook, watching your videos on live stream, listening to webinars, coming to events where perhaps you're hosting the event, until they feel they're ready to, they like you, they trust you. So if you're building your database and you're not actually adding value, where you're building actually the hours of someone that has engagement with you ain't going to make any sales. So often, I have a lot of people coming to my home and the workshops, and they go, "Oh, Nat, I've been seeing your ads everywhere. I've been following you. I've heard about you from this person." When I actually backtrack and connect the dots, so when someone becomes my client, I actually connect the dots as to where did they originally hear about me. So I ask, because then you have a relationship. They're a client for you, and they'll tell me the whole story of how it unfolded and actually how lengthy that process is. And this is why earlier in our businesses, in those first 2 years, we don't tend to have as many sales, because we're actually building the foundations. We're actually building those 11 hours with people around us, right? And so consistently, if you're not doing that consistently and not just ad hoc, then you're not going to have a steady flow of sales coming through. So nowadays, there's such a steady flow of sales, and there's such a steady flow of everything that's happening, and the system is really fine-tuned. But I wouldn't worry if you're in the first couple of years. I would worry if you're not bringing out content to those people, if you're not educating, if you're not building rapport, if you're not adding value. That's when I would start worrying. If you're just sitting on your butt and just going out networking and not doing any follow-up and not continuing to just be present and visible, and a person who has something to say and makes a difference to other people. There you go. That's my little a little rant. I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent. Let me show you guys on my PowerPoint. So that's my fourth point. So your leads will turn into prospects if if you nurture them right. Nat is referring to that Google calls the zero moment of truth. In 2011, the average shopper used 10.4 sources of information. Oh, nice one. Thanks so much, Anthony. We'll have a look at that link, guys. All right, number 5. I am consistent in building relationships online. Okay, so what the hell does this mean? Well, there's such a huge opportunity with people, to make sales without needing to go out there networking face to face. Even though I am a big believer that the high touch approach, that is going out and physically meeting people, is a lot more effective and a lot faster. But then when you've met those people, how about connecting with them online, so that we don't have enough hours in our days to do coffee chats every other day. I can tell you nowadays, I'm very, very reluctant to go out for coffee chats unless I know the full intention and reason why I would do that. And I often will ask people, what's the intention? What do we want to get out of this? And sometimes people might be taken aback. It's like, oh, I'm just asking you for coffee. And I go, well, I don't have enough hours to do coffees that are going to turn into a 3-hour trip, because I've spent an hour driving each way and then 1 hour for the coffee. So this is how, when I meet people physically, straight away I look them up, LinkedIn, Facebook, I connect there, and I keep in touch and have a look what they're doing. They see what I'm doing, and so on, and then the relationship unfolds. But unless you're consistent online, again, you're not going to get those enough of those touch points. If you sort of, I'll turn up here, and if you don't interact, we know a lot of people out there are stalkers, and they just like to watch and sit back and listen. And sometimes I run into some people who've been following and watching me, and I don't know who the hell they are, because they've never commented or never got interaction or involvement. But don't worry, people are watching. Even if in the early days, which you were same as me, in the first 2 years, you should see, I would talk and put all these inspirational things, add value, and what happened is, the crickets. No one would be actually talking or responding back to me, but I kept putting it out there, and slowly I would get 5 or 10 likes, couple of comments, and then as I kept being consistent, so did the interaction grow exponentially in terms of what people I was reaching and who was being inspired by me, or triggered, or whatever it was, to interact. So consistent in building relationships online, it's huge. This is how I got to start going interstate. This is how I started to, go to Sydney, go to Brisbane, Adelaide, because I had built networks in those places online. So therefore, my first attendees and my first workshops were people that I had just known over Facebook for a very, very long time. All right, number 6. I know we're going to run over time because it's 19 minutes past and I've got 5 more points. Let's see if we can fly through these. Okay, number 6 is I give away tons of free content and deliver entry point events or resources. Why do I say this? And we already kind of touched on this a little bit before, but so many people are worried about giving away everything, and you cannot give away everything. To go with someone deep and detailed, you need to work with them, but you can certainly give away lots of tips, tricks, and what I call is results in advance. Give people like an ebook, but promise that by reading this ebook, you're gonna help them do X or Y, and keep building that and keep exploding that, because nowadays when people come to my events and they walk away, I go, you're going to get a thank you email. And in that thank you email, you're going to have this resource, and that resource. I'm pretty much saying to them, hey, go away and if you want, do it by yourself. But you know what? People are not going to do it by themselves. The problem that you solve, most likely, unless someone commits to do it with you, their chance of actually solving it for themselves dwindles right down to less than 3%. Okay, the chance of them solving it because you've got the solution, if it's a good match, of course, if you guys are a good match for each other, is more like over 90% that if they work with you, that they will solve it. How do I know this? Because I've tested and measured it. I have seen when people come to my introductory events, when they walk away, that less than 0.001% ever continue to write a book. The ones that come to my retreats, well, there's quite a few of you on the call right now as well, they all follow through. They all follow through and they have their book in hand and they become a published author. Why is that? Because accountability, because of systems, because of that depth that you can go with the client when you actually spend a lot more time with them and handhold them. So by giving away tons of free content, people will be certainly impressed and they'll want to follow you because you'll be giving away. But they're less likely that they will ever follow through and get their result if they just keep receiving it for free as well. And you're going to have those people in your community. You're going to have those that come and want to get all the free stuff, and that's cool. Do that. Sometimes those people, though, don't underestimate them. They might be your biggest fans. So they might also be talking to other people who are, have you noticed Natasha Denman? She's really cool. I come along on these things or those things, and they start, because they like your stuff and they're following you, then they talk to other people about you. So therefore, those other people then might end up being paying clients. Who knows? So be nice to everybody. Do not ever, say, that person's a freeloader or something like that. Be nice to everybody. Give them all the content they want. I know for a fact that, most people will never do anything with free content because you know what? When people don't pay, they don't really pay attention. When they pay little, they pay little attention. And when they pay a lot, they pay a lot of attention. And that's when results happen. That's a saying that I learned a little while ago. Number 7 is I email my database regularly with awesome content and a call to action. So you don't have to flood your database daily or a few times a week just with calls to action. Come to this, do this, sign up to that, all of that kind of stuff. I'm saying communicate to your database regularly because of that nurturing. Add value, 95% of your email, teach them something, and maybe in the PS have a call to action. Sometimes you can have a quite marketing style promotional email, but I would say 80% of the time, tell a story, engage them, add some value, and then have a light call to action at the end. You don't have to plaster every email to be a purely marketing email. Let me just pick up a couple of questions. There's on the call. Did you change your message when there were crickets or stayed the same with Joy. Joy saying that, no, I stayed the same, Joy. I can't change myself. I just needed to be consistent. Of course, my evolution has changed over the years in terms of what I offered, what I sold, what I was excited about. So what I talked about throughout the years and I have is what I'm excited about. And right now, this kind of topic is exciting me because I think there's so many gaps and so many people failing in their ability to sell and convert so that they can change the world, right? Because if we're not able to sell, we ain't going to change the world. And Katrina says, what is the difference between a free giveaway and lead generation? It's the same thing, but every time you give something away, actually no, Katrina, there's a difference. So free content right now, this is not a lead generation activity because I'm live streaming. There's 22 people on the call. I don't have any of their details in my database. Neither would I even know who is even watching. Maybe there's people who are watching me that know me. Maybe there's people who are there that don't know me at all. The people that are on GoToWebinar, however, they've registered for this call, so I would have their details. Also, a lead gen is where you actually capture details, then you give away the free content. But also, free content is creating a video, uploading it to YouTube, your YouTube subscribers getting it, and not using it as a lead gen. So there you go. There's activities where you just do it and you don't need people's details or you don't collect them. And then lead generations when you go to connect them. All right. So email my database regularly with awesome content. Have a call to action. We did that. Number 8 is I asked for the sale and I set it up promptly. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I asked for the sale and I set it up promptly means that if someone has said yes to you, that means that you need to figure out deposits, have agreements ready, everything to be ready and sent to that sale, that new client, so they're set up so that their commitment is, because the commitment is just as important for their mindset as it is for you to have it all in stone. The minute 24 to 48 hours walk by and you haven't set up your logistics properly, it's more likely that the person, it will start to swing the other way and go, oh no, maybe this is not for me. I'm not sure. Nothing's really come. And they can change their mind. And that's why I also know the minute like 24 to 48 hours finishes, after I've done an event or I've done a qualifying conversation, if nothing has eventuated, then nothing generally will. So you have to be prompt and to the point and respond and send whatever you need to send to set things up super promptly. Number 9 is I follow up on those that have shown interest promptly. So say you've been out and about networking or you've had an event and things like that, and some people have come up to you and talked to you and they're interested. You follow up in under 24 hours. Send them something that would be of value. Set up a conversation that is going to happen sooner rather than later. Do it immediately. And those that have, if there's some kind of like expiry or you've made an offer of something and it expires, send a text message. Say, hey, this offer is now only valid till midnight tonight. If you're in, let's set you up. If you're not, all good. So I always say my number 1 rule is to commit it to getting a sale, but not attached to it. So be committed to getting a yes or a no, but don't be attached to it. Who cares? The thing is, if you have enough things in your pipeline, you're not going to care who says yes or no. Okay, yes, sometimes you might get a lot of no's, and still happens to me in business nowadays. You may get a lot of no's in a row, and then get to a yes, and sometimes you might get lots of yeses in a row, which is where you'll have your peaks and troughs that are happening in your, but all the time. This is why 2017, my calendar is already set and commitments are made, because I'm not gonna wish and hope and be scared where the next sale's coming from, because it's not going to be like that. It's just an execution, and I'm never attached to anything, because I always at the end of the day say to myself, the right people will end up working with me, the ones that are a good match, the ones that are committed, and the ones that I'm going to love working with as well. And with that mindset, that's exactly who I attract. So it's a choice, it's a decision that I make of how things were going to roll out. And those that are not, they are just not, they're not committed to themselves, and they're shit scared. That's all. That's all it is. It's not time, it's not money, it's fear. It's fear of making a commitment to themselves that they perhaps don't trust in themselves that will follow through. Yeah, Anthony says, love that. Adding urgency for them to make a decision. Our decision is 48 hours. After your qualifying chat, you will qualify for our bonuses that we give. And we give out $2,500 worth of bonuses that I have to take off my bottom line to give to them. Because for us, it's extra printed books, it's Kindle upload, and here in Melbourne, we had a planning day that we were offering. So once those 48 hours go, they get a text message at 24 hours. If they're not in, they're not in. And if they come after that, there's no special. They just go to a bare standard package. If, of course, everyone's welcome to come back, but they'll only get their 100-book package and not their 500-book one. And number 10, guys, I know we're going to run over a little bit. I know it's exactly on 9:30. Is that number 10, I don't celebrate until the deal is done. It's truly done. So many people actually make, I guess, give you that energy. Oh, I'm so excited. Yes. Oh, wow, and you think, oh my God, it's happening, right? I've got a sale. But I can tell you right now that a lot of the time, those people are the ones that are not going to follow through. Those are the people that are not going to actually sign up with you. And that's why, the old saying, don't celebrate till the back lady sings. So true. I don't do it. Like, I'm so cool as a cucumber nowadays. I used to get so excited at the beginning of someone making those promises and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, exactly. Show me the money. Put your deposit down, submit your agreement, then I can celebrate, and and that's when the deal's done. So that was my those are my 10. It's just been so intensely delivered. I can go into so much detail around all of this, but I know that our time together is running out. So the one thing I just wanted to reveal that I slightly hinted on last week, and I'm not even only the people that are on this call are going to sort of hear about this, but I am going to run an Ultimate Sales Mastery Mastermind next year. And I actually have already 3 people committed into it, and that's no joke. It's not a sales strategy. Joy, who's on the call, she's already doing it. Sally, who's also on the call, is already doing it. And so I have, this is based in Diamond Creek in my home. This is the upgrade to the last year's Bums on Seats Mastermind. And we're going to have a live streamed version also available that's going to happen. So we are only taking acceptance into this program via qualification chats that go for 15 minutes. So if you are curious and want to know more, all I'm going to say is just private message me or email me for a time. So the last little thing that I just want to show you for everyone that's on the call is this. That, well, I'm not going to read them all, but have a look at these statistics. I mean, a lot of people think they're going to make a sale the very first time they meet someone, and that on this very odd occasion can happen. I'm not saying it can't happen, but the fact is that not a lot of follow-up occurs from people, and not a lot of consistency and delivery of lots of free information. I would have to say, you guys, is that 80 to 90, 95% sometimes of my time is done creating free content. Free content. The 5 to 10% is when I actually get to deliver what I get paid for and what my business, how my business stays viable. So crazy statistics. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I know a few of you have had to go because you've got stuff there. Joyce had awesomeness. And Francis, no, this is not automatic, Francis, for 48 Hour Author people. This is a completely separate program, and it's a high-end program. So, so the master classes you guys get, you get the inner circle, but this is a standalone, separate program from that. All right, guys, mwah, love you all, and I shall see you. Oh, I'm not going to see you next Monday because next Monday we're holidaying on the Gold Coast. So we're going to have a week off, and we're going to be back the following Monday. I think that turns out to be about the 25th of October. So I'll post it up in the pinned post of the page and connect with you guys again in 2 weeks' time after some R&R, after the crazy national tour of Ultimate 48 Hour Author. Wonderful. See you all soon.